Shalom. All praise, glory, and honor is due to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Bahashem Rachakudash. Double honors to my elders and apostles at Great Millstone. Peace, safety, much love, and blessing to the Akim across the four corners of the earth that are pushing out this truth and sincerity and putting their lives on the line to do so. I want to say shalom to you, brothers. Just back in the spirit with another lesson, and Lord willing, the lesson be edifying to an elect member too. I'm going to title this lesson, we are always on our spiritual watch, or some to that effect, because, I was just riding thinking like, no matter what we may do in our personal lives, that doesn't necessarily have the truth involved, like going to work, commuting there, to and from work, our leisure time, no matter what we're doing, we're always watching, spiritually. We find the spirit in everything that we do, whether we're watching a movie, watching a TV show, sports, or what have you. There's always a spiritual aspect to it. And those that are occupied in prophecy, such as ourselves, us here at Great Millstone, we're always spiritually watching, okay? And what are we watching for? We're watching ultimately for the signs in which Yahweh Shai said would be taking place, before his second coming, which is listed in Matthew, the 24th chapter, okay? Wars, rumors of wars, famines, pestilence, all of those things. And certain prophetic scriptures pop in our head daily, man, when we see things that are transpiring around us, all right? So no matter what we do, where it may seem like, the truth is not involved, it is, man. We're always spiritually tying things to the scriptures, man, and being on our watch and warning our people for the signs that we see coming, for the signs that we see, and prep our people, which are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Prep your minds, or at least send out that warning that these things, the signs and the things that are taking place, are leading up to something, man. And what is it leading up to? A lot of death, destruction, a whole bunch of perilous times, a whole bunch of hunger, all of that, okay? And it's our duty as being set up as the mouthpiece of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai to go out and warn the people, okay? It tells us in Isaiah 58:1 that lift up our voice as a trumpet, and shew our people their transgressions, and that's just a part of it, a part of the job description as well. But how could we warn someone we're not watching ourselves? Okay, we don't want to be caught sleep, like the disciples were when Yahweh Shai got on them about, could ye not watch, for an hour, I believe it was. The disciples fell asleep, man, on their watch. All right, and we don't want to be those men, okay? We want to do a job well pleasing unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai and be of good service to our people, man, the Israelites. All right. This is Mark 13 and 30. It says, "Verily I say unto you, that this generation shall not pass till all these things be done. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away. But of that day," so that day when the earth shall pass away, no man will know. Okay, verse 32, "But of that day and that hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels which are in heaven, neither the Son, but the Father. Take ye heed and watch and pray, for ye know not when the time is. For the Son of Man, which is Yahushua, is a man taking a far journey, who left his house and gave authority to his servants, to every man his works, and commanded the porter to watch. All right, and that's us. We are the servants, and we've been left with the house of Yahweh Shem Yahushua to tend to it, man, and to work out our own salvation with fear and trembling, and also be overseers of the flock until Yahushua, the chief shepherd, returns, which I believe that's it states that in First Peter, I believe 5, or 2 Peter 5, somewhere around there. It says, verse 35, watch ye therefore, for ye know not when the master of the house cometh, at evening, or at midnight, or at the cock crowing, or in the morning, lest coming suddenly he find you watching. And what I say unto you, I say unto all, watch. All right. So we always have our spiritual goggles on, man. We always have our spiritual eyes, our spiritual eye peeled, for the things that are transpiring, that are taking place. That's why we can be in a movie, with the common man, with the everyday Jake. We could be watching the same movie, but what we take from the movie is on a totally different level than those that are in the movie without, spiritual goggles on, man. We take away the spirit. We take with us the spirit in which we find these hidden messages in these certain movies and TV shows, that the average person that hasn't been set up to watch doesn't catch. Okay, so from there, let me get the book of Ezekiel. Salah. I started at the top. Again, the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, speak to the children of thy people, and say unto them, when I bring the sword upon a land, if the people of the land take a man of their coast, and set them for their watchmen, if when he seeth the sword come upon the land, he blow the trumpet and warn the people, then whosoever heareth the sound of the trumpet, and maketh not warning, if the sword come and take him away, his blood shall be upon his own head. He heard the sound of the trumpet, and took not warning, his blood shall be upon him. But he that taketh warning shall deliver his soul. But if a watchman seeth the sword, and blow not the trumpet, and the people be not warned, if the sword come and take any person from among them, he is taken away in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at the watchman's hand. So our people, the Israelites, if the sword consumes them, it's because of their iniquity, but also the blood will be required at our hands, which are the watchmen, for not giving warning. Verse 7, so thou, O son of man, I have set thee a watchman unto the house of Israel, and therefore thou shalt hear the word at my mouth, and warn them from me. See, and the people take us sending out the message or the warning, and they get it misconstrued and think that we're fear mongers, and that we're just hateful people, if you will. But we're actually doing them a service while they think we're doing them a disservice. All right, because the people, and I'm not concerned with the heathen. Our people, the Israelites, you so-called Negro, Latino, and Native Americans, they have a big misconception of what the Lord is all about, and what the Lord requires of them. So when they hear us saying that the Lord is coming back and he's going to do X, Y, and Z, and there's going to be a lot of death, a lot of famine, pestilence, missiles, they take it as if we hate them because we're telling them this. But what kind of men would we be to see all of these things about to take place and not tell you about it? Like they say, what kind of friend would not tell a friend that danger is ahead of them? All right. And we being friends of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai and the people being of our kindred, we have been enlisted to do this job, and we have to give warning. Our people think that warning should come in the form of smooth and delicate words. But it shouldn't matter how it's delivered, as long as the message is received. And you need to be really focused on getting your stuff right, man, before that perilous that perilous and woe comes. Because let me get this real quick, man, and let's get this understood. What the Lord is really all about when he comes back. Once these signs, he's done showing signs, and it's time to get it in blood, if you will, and it's time for action to start taking place. The Lord is not going to meet us as a man. It's going to be the worst thing you people could ever think of. Is going to be that day, man. Amos 5:18. Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. So what end is it for you? All right, what end is it for you? Is it going to be salvation, or is it going to be death? That's just period, point blank. The day of the Lord Yahweh is darkness and not light. Let me read that again. The day of the Lord is darkness and not light. And if you read Lamentations, man, I believe chapter 3, it goes into it, man, that a lot of people are going to be lamenting in that day. All right, more so than there will be those that are rejoicing because they know they're being saved or salvation. Salvation this time take place is going to be a very small remnant, of the nation of Israel. All right. So we continue to watch, have these spiritual goggles on. No matter what we're doing, we're still watching. All right. So I want to end it by giving all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachakodash, Shalom.